What if I told you that the reason that you're feeling so anxious and overwhelmed, disconnected in the world, and powerless to create true change and impact isn't 100% your fault, and that there is something that you can do about it? Hey, everybody, I'm Maddie Stevenson, and this is Conscious Ground, where we are guiding people in how to reconnect in a divided world, where we are helping you to build human skills that are so needed to be able to live and thrive in the age of AI, as well as discover your power to make a difference in your community and in the world. And over the next 10 episodes, we are going to share some ideas and practices on how you can reconnect with your own humanity, build and improve your own relationships, and become a conscious leader the world desperately needs, all by taking a few simple steps. And as an added bonus, we are launching some of what I think are some really cool giveaways to help you accelerate your impact. But first, let me ask you this. Do you feel that the world is almost designed to keep us angry and divided? Have you wanted to do something in the world, but have felt almost paralyzed to do so? I know that I have over the years and throughout my days, but I want to tell you that over the past few years, I have grown a new awareness around so much of these things. I have felt like I've gained some more insights and some more visibility into a lot of the things that affect us and slow us down from being able to do things and work together like we normally did in the past. And through some of that awareness and learning myself, I have been inspired to see that there are possibilities. There are things that we can do to make a difference in this crazy world. And so over this episode, I want to provide an understanding of some of the causes of some of the big problems that we face today. I want to talk about three ways around how you can see the world a little differently, and how you can make an impact in it. And I last want to talk about who we are here at Conscious Ground and how we're here to help in all of the above. And so let's set up the problem here today, right? I mentioned it. We are disconnected. We are often lacking strong direction. We don't have, I would say, very strong or conscious or powerful leadership in many of the places that we need it today. And I am sure you might agree with me here as well. It seems like we struggle to work together to make change. And I would say that's not just about when we disagree, but I would say we struggle even when we have similar beliefs and we want to work together to make an impact. It still seems really hard today. And I see it everywhere. As I said, my awareness of this has grown, but it is all around us. And so these things are really affecting us. We are disconnected ever increasingly so from ourselves, from other people. We look for leadership only to find that we are being told. We are and guided in poor ways, in unhealthy ways, in my opinion. And again, it is hard to in all this disconnection, in all this poor leadership. It's really hard to do anything or feel like change is possible. So I want to set this up in kind of how this shows up in three different ways and how all of these things really impact our ability to do these things. So the first problem we have is around disconnection. We are disconnected from ourselves, increasingly so. As I said, we are disconnected from other people, increasingly so. Right? It feels very difficult to have conversations these days. I feel like so many people, myself included, don't often speak our real truth because we're afraid of what might happen, of argument that might come up, or an uncomfortable situation might arise out of speaking our true beliefs. I know I see myself kind of avoiding people at times, and so we're getting more into our devices. We're getting more disconnected from people, and it is really causing a big impact in so much of our lives, but not only just around how we get things done, but our overall health, I would say, as well. And we're going to dive into that piece in a later episode in depth. So we've got this disconnection problem, and it's not getting better. It's getting worse, and it's influenced and it's made worse by technology, social media, things like AI is really starting to have an impact on our connection as well. And so, as you can see, there is a major connection, human connection problem that we are seeing all across our lives. And as I said in the beginning, it's not 100% our fault. A lot of our connection problems are manufactured. And that's actually what we'll be getting into in the next episode. But for right now, let's hop into another one of our big problems we see. And I would love to hear if you agree with me on this. I feel we have a major leadership crisis upon us these days. I feel like majority of people that are in leadership positions or positions of power aren't acting as true leaders. They are encouraging us to stay divided. They are encouraging us to fight each other when we disagree. And this is not just in politics, but I see it in many places myself. I see it at work. I see it in my community. This disconnection problem is in large part to, I would say, poor leadership. And it's if you ask me about leadership and what it means, and if you ask other people about what it means, you will probably get a different definition because there are so many frameworks and thoughts about how ways to lead and what leadership looks like. But in my opinion, again, we have a major leadership crisis right now where we are being directed and encouraged by leaders who are practicing unhealthy and I would say even toxic leadership. And I'll get much more into what I think and what we think really healthy modern leadership is. But again, really want to set up the problem here. And again, I would love to know if you're seeing this in your own life. Do you feel like the people that are supposed to be leaders in your life, whether that's at work, whether that's your local leaders, your politicians, do you feel like they are modeling leadership that you want to see? Leadership that is grounded in things like integrity and authenticity and transparency, and where you feel really inspired by that leadership. I know that while there are leaders in my life that I do feel are doing a great job and are living and guiding the way I want to see it, I think the majority of leaderships, people in big positions of leadership, are really not leading us in a healthy way. And then let's set up our third problem, and that's around solidarity, finding common ground. This is so crucial in how we might get true change here in our society, in our world. If we have a problem of disconnection and a problem of leadership, how will we ever get to work together on even small problems, let alone big ones? And when so much of these problems, I would say, around connection and leadership are kind of manufactured, almost designed to keep us fighting each other, we are going to have a real solidarity problem. We're going to have problems getting, as I said, little things done. We're going to have problems getting together, even when we agree on things to really move forward and take action in a big way. So those are, as we see it, kind of three really big problems that affect so much of our lives, right? If we can't really connect with each other, if we can't have good leaders, if we can't model strong leadership ourselves, how will we be able to work together, especially when again so many of these bad examples are being fed to us every single day. And this matters because it is not getting better. It is getting worse. And I would love to hear if you agree or disagree with me on that. I would say our divides are getting stronger. Our leadership is getting more unhealthy, and we are having more and more trouble just talking to each other, let alone working with each other and taking action together. And as I said, I've been s- investigating this for many years. I've been becoming more and more aware of these problems, as I said. And while it makes me more aware of the problems, I will say it also is giving me inspiration that change is possible because when you become more aware of things, you become more aware of things that might help to change those things. So I really do believe that while we've got these really big problems that we're facing that affect so much of what we do in our society, I really do believe that it is possible to make change. It starts with awareness, and then it starts with taking a few simple steps of changing who we are and how we interact and saying, you know what? No, we don't have to accept this reality. So, how might we do this? Well, this is what we do here at Conscious Ground. We want to start one as an inspiration point, a starting point, a ground, if you will, in which to take your first step, to take your first action, to maybe, yeah, form a community around you. Maybe if it's really small, only a few people, but just a starting point of how can I look at this? How can I become more aware of this? And how can I practice some things that will make change in my own life and thus change in the lives of the people that are around me. And we transform those three big problems that I just mentioned into pathways to change. So we look at disconnection, we look at poor leadership, we look at a solidarity problem, and we say, how can we turn these problems into a path forward? So when it comes to connection, we work on helping people, one, connect with ourselves, with our own selves first, and then move towards connecting with others. And I think when people think about a connection, they first think about communication. But for us, communication is one part of connection. Again, to really deeply connect with people, we believe that first we need to understand a little bit more about ourselves, what we really believe in, some ideas around our values, and just things that are really important in our lives. It starts with a little understanding of how we react to things as humans, the feelings that come up when we get in conversation and we have a difficult situation. It starts there. And then it moves on to, well, now that I have maybe a deeper connection with myself, how can I extend that out? How can I connect with others in a meaningful way? And how can I practice different things, yes, around communication, but also how to find a way to get to that point of deep connection, to get to that point of where the other person feels understood, the other group feels understood, where you yourself feel more understood. And that is where some magic can really happen, when you feel kind of a magnetism, that feeling of deep connection. And through that, so much can happen. That is where, that is some energy. That is inspiration. That is where we can really make great things happen. We can be creative. We can be innovative, and it starts with being able to connect with ourselves and connect with each other. And I would say, especially to do all of that when we disagree, because we have been taught now that when we disagree, we shouldn't connect. And that is one of the things we are trying to and are actively working towards changing here at Conscious Ground. Now, when it comes to leadership, a similar approach. Leadership seems a little diluted. It seems a little, it seems like we've been having many years of poor, unhealthy leadership. Well, how do we change that? Well, again, it does start with us. Anyone, any single person can be a leader. It does not, you do not need to be a person who works at a leading role at your job or in your community. You can be a leader to anyone that comes across you in life. You can learn your own leadership skills that are aligned with your who you are as a person and what you believe in. And one point of leadership for us is how we see others and how we see the good in others and how we inspire people to grow and to build on their own skills, the things that makes them great, the gifts that they have. How do we see that in other people and build that and grow that and inspire people to use their gifts to work together with other people? That is just one small piece of leadership, and there are so many ways that we can practice this and be a model in our lives, and thus anybody else that comes into contact with us, to get to the point of where you might make change just by being yourself, by modeling what you want to see in the world. And then that impacts everyone around you. You might inspire somebody to that might come across you and how you are as your own way of being in leadership. And that person might say, oh, wow, that's impressive. I'm inspired by this. Maybe I can do this. So that is just one small piece of leadership. And the main thing is we can inspire the leadership that we want to see. And that is another way that we operate here. We help people practice human leadership skills that help us to connect and communicate with others, and to help others build those skills and see those skills as well. And so, turning our third point around solidarity, we turn that solidarity problem into a new way of being as well, right? Through being able to be better connected to ourselves and others, to be able to be a better leader in the world, we are helping to inspire collaboration, to inspire action, to be able to help people find common ground even when we disagree. And this can be a really tough topic, but I can tell you, while it is tough, I have been working through this over many years, and it is possible. When you do see those moments where you see, oh my gosh, it is possible. We were able to have a conversation. We were able to connect. That only inspires more. And as I said, and I will say it again, it is possible, and we just need to be able to take that first step, to be able to be aware that it is possible, and that everyone can have an impact here, and to give you some steps and tools and practices on how to do that. And so that is why we exist here at Conscious Ground, to give you that foundation, to give you that stability, that starting place to take that first step. And how we offer this is we offer events and resources and trainings and content to help inspire you to remember first that this is all possible, and then to next take the steps to take some practices that you can implement in your own life, so that you can see the change in your own life. And so, as I take a pause, does this resonate? If it does, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share, because we want to amplify this work, this positive work that we see in the world. We are building a community where we want to gather people that are interested in making an impact, that are learning to build some of these skills, that are interested to make some change in the world. And I know there are a lot of people out there that want to do this. So if you are interested in making an impact, if you want to make a positive change in the world, give us a follow, give us a like, spread and amplify this work, and look into the description wherever you're viewing this to see how you can follow along with our launch and get some of those giveaways I mentioned. So let's talk, as we get near the close of this episode, how can we kind of put this into practical application? Well, one, in terms of immediate action, we're just getting started here, right? We're just laying the groundwork to be able to take that first step. And we've got, as I said, 9 more episodes to go where you can go deeper. But one thing you can do today is just to start noticing. We are all about awareness here. Awareness, becoming more aware of things is a way that you can then take that next step in how you can take action on things you want to change. And so I encourage you, see if you can notice more disconnection in your life. If you want to give that a try, it's not hard. It's out there every day. But now that you might be thinking about that, hey, it's a little bit more manufactured. It's not all on us. See if you can notice moments of disconnection, maybe disconnection from yourself, maybe disconnection out in the world where people are avoiding each other, where people are disagreeing with each other, and what happens. Just notice the disconnection. Notice if you see a leader encouraging people to fight, encouraging people not to work together. If you notice a leader in your life that you don't really trust, that you don't believe what they're saying, have some more, extend your awareness around some of these things. Because again, the more you notice, the more you can say, hey, I actually think I know there's a better way to do this, or I think we can practice something differently, because the awareness helps you realize some of the things that you'd like to see differently. So, yeah, take a look around you, open your eyes a little bit more, see if you can see some of that disconnection you see in the world in a new way. See if you can really identify some unhealthy leadership practices, and see if you can notice where people are having trouble working together. And I guarantee you, you will see it more and more. And this has happened to me, as I said, over the years. And so, yes, that's one. That's one immediate action, some awareness around these problems. Number two, some longer term practice. As I said, this is what we do here. So, in terms of longer term, follow us here. Follow and listen to our next 9 episodes because we're going to dive deep into how some of this disconnection is manufactured, how AI is affecting things, and as we get along in this series, we will give more actual practical tips and practices on how you can implement some of these things in your life. So again, a longer term practice here would be just to follow along because we've got a lot more to come. And I will say, a lot of people might be watching this or listening to this and thinking, man, this sounds really hard. And I will say, this is not always easy work. This is often very hard work. It might sound great when I'm talking about it, but I will say, there are days where when it is really tough, and when it's really tough for me as somebody who's even been practicing this for quite a while. But I will say, while it's hard, and we know it's hard, and even with tons of practices and learning, there are some days where trying to connect with somebody who doesn't agree with us is going to be incredibly difficult. But that is part of the work. We're not here to pretend like learning some skills will magically change your life, but it will make an impact, and it will make an impact in your life and other people's lives, and you will see it. And I would also say part of the other thing about this is, and being part of a community that wants to learn these things, is we are all going to have our difficult days. We are all going to have days where we are struggling to connect with people, where we are lonely and wish we weren't so disconnected from the people in our lives. And that is part of our community here, where we can have a group of people that help people in those situations where, you're going to have your days where this work is tough, but having a group of people with you and around you that can support you on the days that this stuff is hard is a really important factor in all of this. So again, encourage you to follow us and join along in here, because that is one way that you can be supported in this. So if you grow your awareness, if you start to see things more and more, you will again start to see the possibilities. And as I said, we'll have some practices that you can try, very simple things where you can start to see the possibilities in your life. You can see the impact and change. So as we get to close, thank you so much if you got to this point for listening this far. And I have an ask. Wherever you are watching or listening to this, again, hit subscribe, give us a like, amplify this work. We think it's important work. I hope you do too. And I would also say, tell us in the comments one thing you might have learned, one thing that you are excited about, one thing that you disagree with. We are all about learning and talking through disagreements here. And I would say the third and most important thing, help us celebrate the launch of Conscious Ground. We have a bunch of giveaways, as I mentioned, that I'm really excited about. We're talking about free access to our first courses, access to our events, free mentoring sessions from me and the team, and so much more. So there are details below in the description there, and we would love for you to follow along. And just to close things out, I just want to say the world does really need you right now. The world needs people that are willing to say, hey, we're willing to make a change. We think we can make a change. It might be small, but we are here to do that. And you do have the power to create change and impact in the world. I would say more than you realize, because this system of disconnection and poor leadership, they want you to feel powerless and like you can't do anything. And that's one of the main things we are here to do. We are here to tell you that you can do it, and we are here to show you how. So again, thank you for watching, and join us in the next episode where we talk about the concept of manufactured disconnection, where we speak about how a lot of our disconnection, as I said in the beginning of this episode, is not natural. It is synthetic. It is manufactured, and give you some insights and some more awareness of how to see it and what you can do about it. So thank you so much again, everybody. And until the next video, stay conscious, stay grounded, and we'll see you soon.